Are we all up and running?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody ready?
Yes, sir. Yep, thank you.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're gonna start with a roll call. And we'll start with myself and go around the room. It's Mike Twomley from District 1.
Jacob Gray, District 3, that's North Fork. I also have a little bit up top, just in an effort to engage in transparency. I do serve on the board of directors of Bone Mesa Domestic Water District. Applicants do live in this district. They engaged us for a letter to ask for confirmation of the ability to move the water tap. Also in regard to the cistern, can confirm we still do have a moratorium at Bone Mesa. Waiting on a study of our springs and investment in key infrastructure for the distribution. I do not see this as a conflict of interest, as the project does not benefit me or the district, but I will pose the question to board and staff if there's a different opinion.
No, the determination came from the board on. I don't see a conflict of interest.
I would agree.
The main point of contact was,
It was Dan, our president.
yes,
Yep,
Did you say his last name?
Buzzle.
yeah, my records indicate that there was nothing formally, any kind of communication with,
Yep.
board member Gray.
Sean Gardner, Planning Director, Delta County.
Nelson Hatter, planning tech.
Brittany Haney, Planner 1.
Everett Neal, code compliance.
Candace Conway, District 2.
Okay, moving on to public comments. If there's anybody here that would like to comment on something that's not on the agenda, now's the time to do so. Seeing nobody is here for that, move along to agenda additions, deletions, and corrections. Anybody have any additions, deletions, corrections?
Just the correction of my last name on the current agenda, which then would be reflected in the minutes as well. So we just need to correct my last name to Conway.
Okay, moving on to the minutes. Assume everybody has read the minutes from our last real meeting, I guess, if you want to call it that. Anybody have any comments on the minutes as presented?
Move to approve the meeting minutes from February 26th.
I would second that.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, moving on to scheduled items, PLN 26-001 Bledsoe. It's are you doing? this one?
Whatever it's gonna.
Okay,
The point of reference is PLN 26-002.
nope,
PLN 26002. Okay,
The year.
I don't know what I said, but.
I don't either.
Good evening, members of the board. As discussed, this is for PLN 26-002 for Mr. Bledsoe. This is the variance request for the use of a cistern to use hauled water in a cistern as a water source, which does require a hearing before your board. Next slide. This location is going to be at 11948 Crawford Road in Crawford, Colorado. This is an A20 zoning district. What started this whole process was Mr. Bledsoe came in, was wanting to do an additional residence on that property. There's an existing residence. And as we reviewed the application, it was determined that there was an issue with being able to get another water tap. And so this started the conversations to go into the process of understanding that in order to do another residence, he was going to have to find an alternate water source. And that led us to our variance request for a cistern. He is requesting to have a cistern and hauled water used for the existing residence on the property, so he and his family can build another residence, which will then use the primary tap for the new residents to build on the property. So basically the existing water tap will become the new water tap for the new, proposed residents they're gonna build. And then the existing home will be switched over to a cistern for a water supply for the existing original home. Next slide. So this is getting processed as a limited use permit with a variance request. It was determined that there is no WTS on site. As you already are aware, some of the things that he has to do in order to apply for this is we need to verify and show that this is an exception to the rules. So we need to show that there is an exhaust of all resources to try to obtain water. In your packet that you received, you had a letter from Division of Natural Resources. You reached out to them to attempt to drill a well. They responded to him. He is unable to put a well and will not be permitted for that property. He also contacted Bone Mesa Water, who is the domestic water provider. And as was already mentioned by Board Member Gray, there's currently a moratorium and they're unable to serve another water tap. With this in mind, it did push towards the idea of, okay, well, who's going to supply your water? It was Pitkin Mesa, who also sent a letter, which you will have in your packet, indicating that they had no problem supplying the amount of water required for one cistern at that residence. Also, Bone Mesa indicated in their correspondences, they had no objection to the use of a cistern in their water service area due to the fact that they can't provide the water tap. They also indicated in their communications that they also would authorize the moving of the existing tap to the new residence. And that is all in the packet that I've provided for you guys. Next slide. This is the site plan. As you can see, the original residence is going to be in green. And the proposed location for the cistern is the little red dot. And the little L-shaped orange area is the proposed location for the residence that would be constructed. And the others are existing outbuildings and an existing access off of Crawford Road. Next slide. So in the findings, we do find that this does not qualify to have any unique conditions or such as exceptional narrowness, shallowness, shape, or subject to the property or topographic conditions. This also is a variance from the strict application of the regulation, which is the land use code. By granting them the ability to use a cistern, this would relieve the hardship imposed upon them of the inability to build another residence and relocate their family to the property without this variance to be able to supply water for the additional residents. In the event that this variance is granted, it will not cause any violation or any activity that's prohibited by the code in the zoning district for which the subject property is located. Based on what we've found and the information provided, we request that you consider the variance as they apply to this case to approve, conditionally approve, or deny a variance for the use of the cistern as a domestic water source for an existing residence and authorize the director to prepare a resolution reflecting the BOA decision. The applicant is here and I will let him explain his situation rather than using my words. I feel it's best for him to describe what's going on, which lead to the purpose and need for this variance. And this is Mr. Bledsoe.
There's a film.
Yep, go ahead.
I just started by saying, I grew up in that valley. I'm trying to get back pretty hard. My dad had a stroke June of last year. He's pretty much back to normal from it, but he's getting old. I'm trying to get moved up there to be able to take care of him. That's my biggest thing right now is I'm one child. I'm the only caregiver he has and my family has. I run my butt off between Paonia and Grand Junction and the town, taking him to doctor's appointments and stuff. So we're trying to get ourselves back up there and get my family back up there and be next door to him. I would add to that about moving that water tap is my dad's house is an 1897 farmhouse. it looks good from the road. It is a well polished turd. When my dad no longer exists, that house probably will be. It's in poor shape. That's my big thing with it, and I've exhausted everything trying to figure out how to do this without doing it, so. That's my big push, is trying to get back in the valley and take care of my dad and take care of him in the last years of his life, so.
Okay, any
Understood.
questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I guess in the future, if you're planning on eliminating that property, then would you just at that point eliminate the cistern, or do you plan on maybe rebuilding? Okay, fair enough. Okay,
We were there too close.
okay.
Just a question, what has been your timeline for this process, just for my education? Like, when did you feel like, oh yeah, I want to move next to my dad? How long has it been up till now?
We talked about it for years. I took 4 weeks of FMLI last summer to stay with my dad in Paonia. And that's when I started really realizing like the time's come, like he's either gonna be moving in with us, or which he will not do, or it's nursing home time in the next couple.
Excuse me.
Pending a catastrophe at home,
Mhm.
nursing home time.
I guess, to clarify, when did you engage the county?
Oh,
I can assist with that if you
3
would
months
like.
ago?
Yeah,
I will give you the timeline.
great.
On January 20th of 2026, we received an application. And then the correspondences, January 13th was the correspondence with Bone Mesa Domestic Water. January 13th was also where we had the correspondences with Division of Natural Resources. February 10th, we had conversations with Pitkin Mesa Pipeline Company, who advised their bulk water facility would provide water. February 23rd was when we confirmed that they could move the water tap from the old residents to the new residents. I think that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Timeline. for you.
Yeah. Thanks. Just for my selfish education. The only other thing I saw in the code was there's language around obviously new development needing water. And my question kind of was a process question, because he's moving the tap to the new development. Did he need to go through this process? You know, I don't want it to be used as a loophole per se to like, oh, we'll just move our water to the next house and just keep abandoning. But I kind of read it as the water was being tied to the new development. He did have access to that new water. More of a philosophy question for the land use code at a later date, but
Good question.
Yeah.
I mean, it left us a bit of a stranded asset if you lose
Sure.
that, you know, that tap.
Well, that's what made sense was by adding the cistern to maintain the two residences.
totally.
And also, we did propose some language, if you're to approve of it, that this cistern would be eliminated upon the end of its use. But he couldn't do one without the other.
What at the end of its use though?
Yeah, well, if the house is removed.
I see.
Yeah.
And.
So like if he were to tear down and put a new house on.
Yes, and also in the language that would propose
Great.
that this doesn't transfer.
Mhm.
And that it is done when it is done. It
Get
will
that.
invalidate this.
Great.
Variance in the event that that takes place.
That was mostly the heart of my question.
Yeah.
Just maybe out of line. I was like, I've been reading as much as I can online about this. If I was like, just to take my dad's water tap, could I sell that water tap? Put him on a cistern? Like, what would happen? For Bone, I mean, maybe I should be asking the question.
Might be a question at a
Yeah,
it's a meeting.
Or Bone Mesa,
Definitely like-
yeah.
Like, people do that.
That kind of gets the heart of my question of like, oh, that's a way to kind of jerry rig and
Oh, yeah.
Right.
water speculate. I mean, I think there's laws in the state that probably prohibit that. Perhaps, but
Mm.
My mind
I don't know.
a while for the last few months.
Yeah, that's a great question to bring up,
Yeah.
the Bone Mesa.
I'll take
for
note
sure.
of it.
Fine, can't do this, then like, well, what if I just sold his water? They're worth a lot
Oh,
of money.
yeah.
Like, there's people want.
Yep, supply and demand.
This variance is related to a follow-up limited use permit for
Correct.
additional residents. And so in the limited use permit for the additional residents, he's got to provide proof of water.
Hmm.
So have we got an application
Yes.
for that?
He has completed the limited use.
Started
application.
that application
Okay.
or completed it. huh?
Yes,
Oh, that's my other process question is he can't get on-site wastewater right until
correct.
this variance.
Right, so basically what we determined was rather than, because again, at first we just thought, hey, limited use permit for additional residents, then we
Yeah.
found
The water issue.
variation water issues. The processing, in my mind, it made sense to go ahead and fill out the application for limited use and access, address and everything to be able to run with it as
Yeah.
soon as, because this is something it's been some time.
Mhm.
I'd like to expedite it as best as possible, but we couldn't move forward without a firm decision
Mhm.
on the water. Otherwise, we have the complications of not being able to work with the limited use permit. So this felt to be the first step.
I guess I would also speak to, picking the worst year in the history of Colorado for this, and I understand that. But I would just speak to is, if this would have happened last year, we had a great snow year, and then it could be, this could be a great year, and it could be next year that's a terrible freaking year, like it's. I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, oh my God, the worst time ever to do this, it's like.
The optics aren't great, but
And I think I read, and I apologize, I left my packet at home, but I think I read that you exhausted the well research as far as you approached the state said,
Subdivided to a smaller parcel.
Right. right. Okay,
71.
wanted to verify that I read that right.
it's
My
35.
neighbors down the road, they drilled their well before they subdivided, so they got.
Got it, okay.
And there's verification that you can get from the division natural resources.
Yeah, I thought I had read that. It's
We can't do it.
no go, yeah.
Well, I think I would like to mention, we read the packet. It almost seemed like there was an illusion that it was great that you got your water source and you got a letter from them. It removes a whole lot of headaches for a meeting like this from neighbors or anybody that wants to have an opinion against your subdivision. But you're not locked into buying from just one person or one entity. You
Yeah.
can buy potable water from whoever you deem
Yeah, I
necessary.
mean, my little line of, if pick and put a moratorium on tomorrow, I would haul
Right.
water out of Grand Junction, I drive there every day for work.
And you've got a whole bunch of options and just in Delta County and you're close to Gunnison County, so you do have options. You're not locked into anything. I think the only other thing I wanted to touch on, and I think we can do it quickly, is kind of what you brought up. How do we use this application and not get drawn into somebody that wants to subdivide? The land use code is kind of clear about when they refer to a cistern is not an adequate water source. We're not creating a new lot. We're not doing a subdivision. We're not splitting property into smaller chunks. So once we do that, we need to make sure that there's adequate infrastructure and water being one of them. But whatever we decide on, and it looks like most of those bases are covered, because sure enough, somebody is gonna come in here now in the next year or two and wanna manipulate the system a little bit. But all your paperwork is really good.
You can see the, where the house is gonna sit, like every one of my friends, they're rich dad, poor dad guys, they're like, you need to put that house over here in case you ever wanna split it, and like, I'm not planning on splitting it, building it right behind my dad's house, that place can't be split, it would be the funkiest.
Well, they've
split
even
ever on
taken
28.
steps to,
Yeah.
to cover that loophole, if you will. There is,
Yeah.
we've eliminated what we can
Yeah,
with.
if you would like to entertain my reading of proposed language for condition, reference to this. The cistern located at 11948 Crawford Road is allowed to serve an additional residence as the domestic water source is determined by this variance. If the cistern fails or is not worthy of water containment, the landowner shall install a new cistern or seal the existing cistern per state guidelines. In the event the residence using this cistern is removed or no longer used as a residence, this variance will no longer be valid and the variance is not transferable from the use described in this approval.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
clear.
So anybody else have comments, questions?
Well, to the point of
Right.
other folks trying to use this, there is language in the code that says any decision the BOA makes is not precedent and does not therefore automatically, because these are hardships we're hearing, you can't come in and use this, whatever we decide today, as an excuse to get the same decision. So that language is very nice.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have any other questions for staff rep.
No? Nobody else, anything to add? We go on to, we kind of are in deliberation, but we'll go ahead and close this portion of the meeting and go into deliberation.
Thank you.
You guys have any thoughts, concerns?
No, I think,
Entertain a motion?
yeah, I think based off of, staff recommendation that this, isn't transferable. Once that property, which it sounds like he's going to be tearing down later on, once that's removed, that cistern will no longer be of use.
Yeah, I think they
And that's
did a great
pretty clear.
job
Yeah,
in covering. I don't know, it's not gonna be is this, can you add a plat note? How are you gonna enforce this? Is it just when it's in
The
the
resolution will be recorded
Mhm.
and,
So-
though, that's
Yeah.
live in isolation as such, unless we were to docu-link it to something that exists that would be found in a title search.
Which would probably be the plat. But to go the plat route, it would a replat, which
You don't replat LUPs, right?
and not just willingly that.
Yeah.
You would need to be,
Yeah, of course.
and whoever is also in that subdivision would have to agree to add that to the.
Or we could, I've never
That
done this.
kind of complicates it.
Well, no, it does.
But
I mean, but it's an important question because who would know this exists
Right.
5, 10 years?
It's gotta go up in title work.
Could we make a request for the assessor to put that into the reception number? Yeah, that might just be a simple, quick way to do that. I think we could make a request of the assessors to do that.
yeah, that's a great point.
Put it
Then
down.
it would show up,
Mhm.
no problem.
Yeah,
Everett, what page was the conditions on? Like that condition language you gave, was that in our
It is what
packet?
I've made in the event that there's a determination, I would have a prepared document.
It's in the resolution that you guys did on.
Oh,
So if you would like a copy, I'm sure we could print it out.
didn't want to read it. Yeah, okay.
Right, yeah.
I see. But if we're gonna make a motion to approve a resolution, we should have the language of it.
I just didn't want to, I did not,
Yeah.
not jump the gun or.
It was just that one condition.
It's on the back
That's on the
page.
back.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Go ahead and read it out loud.
Again,
please.
to reiterate this, conditions of approval for 26-002 Bledsoe. Condition 1, the cistern located at 11948 Crawford Road is allowed to serve an additional residence as the domestic water source is determined in the variance. If the cistern fails or is not worthy of water containment, the landowner shall install a new cistern or seal the existing cistern per state guidelines. In the event the residence using the cistern is removed or no longer used as a residence, this variance will no longer be valid and the variance is not transferable from the use described in this approval. So I would move that we approve PLN 26-002 Bledsoe with condition 1 as stated previously.
Motion is made,
I would second that.
motion seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So what will happen next is, you'll receive a follow-up letter from us, and then we'll get started processing.
Get rid of this and make them do it all over. You see that?
We'll just sign it this evening.
I like order.
Learn this stuff.
Yeah.
That's
It's
great.
gonna be too much.
Was a great idea.
The paperwork in this one was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's great.
Every base.
Makes it easier when you're not.
You're-
Neat, sweet, and petite, we call that.
That's for you, it's for you to sign, Mr. Cole.
I'm gonna create the, hold on.
Yeah.
There's one.
Okay.
City.
Which one made what motion?
So, did you, we're good on the motion? We can move
Okay.
on. Okay, we're gonna move on to board comments, requests and referrals.
Great.
We have a. No? No
I can't
comments?
think of any right now.
Okay, how about a department report? And please limit your answers to 30 minutes or less.
You gave him a big
I
spread
have
though,
one
30
little brief
minutes.
comment there. Make an approval determination on a controversial development today, and I expect to get an appeal probably, and if we get it by, I think, April 8th it is, then we will have a hearing at the next regularly scheduled BOA. If we get it after that time, we, in our regulations, it says we have to schedule a BOA hearing within 30 days of getting the notice. So that kind of, it's a weird part in the code, I think needs to change. I would say the next earliest available BOA hearing instead of 30 days. But we may need to schedule a special date. But I don't, I think that the appeal, if it gets made, will get made soon.
So if it's before April 8th, then it'll be on the next session. But what is the time limit after? It's
Yeah.
30 days after.
Well, they have 15 days to appeal the decision, and it was made today, so it's 15 days from today.
Okay.
If it goes, they can appeal it. Okay, if it goes to the 10th.
Okay.
We miss our
2 weeks.
2 weeks noticing period.
Understood. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So potential special hearing on that.
It could be.
Okay.
Just a heads up
Okay.
that I expect to have something next month.
Okay. Thank you.
If it doesn't, we can just all be happy and not come.
Yeah.
You want me to date this too underneath?
It's up to you. If you don't do it.
There's a
we'll-
line.
We'll do it.
We are, one last thing, next Tuesday, we have a special work session with the commissioners and the PC has been invited. Suppose you all can come if you want. It's at 1:30 in the afternoon, so suspecting anybody working, but we're discussing the battery energy storage system regulations and other land use code amendments that we have drafted, little revisions, or little spot revisions throughout the land use code that we've encountered difficulty with in the last couple of years. So,
It's okay, we'll just put it right.
but that's next Tuesday, 1:30.
Good.
But we are ramping up for doing some revisions to the land use code. It's getting close to getting into the adoption period for that after June. Just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Going before that, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right, that is all.
All right. Anyone have anything to add before we close the meeting? If not, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
What we'll do is I'll get this copy and then we'll record it.
Good meeting.